Ladies and gentlemen, Scent of Destiny, the audiobook. Spoken by Joel Krupa, author. This book is a work of erotic fiction. The names of people, places, and most things in this novel are fictitious. Scent of Destiny has been rated NC-17 for graphic sexual content and adult language. Viewer discretion is heavily advised. It was arguably one of the happiest days of my life. After all of the query letters and seemingly endless submissions to a number of publishers, I had finally done it. I had captured the attention of a book publisher that, in a matter of speaking, had bitten down on the worm of my proverbial hook. After spending 4 years retooling and tidying up what I considered my best piece, Intimate Massage, I sent blurbs and snippets out to the companies that were mildly interested. Naturally, after playing the waiting game for weeks and months, I received in the mail those envelopes that no author ever wants to read. Dear Isaac, we have read the paragraph description of your original manuscript titled Intimate Massage. Unfortunately, due to the massive amount of submissions we receive, we are unable to assist you any further and wish you only the best in your endeavor as a writer. Of course, these words are just their way of politely stating the obvious without actually putting the stake against your heart and pounding it in with a rusty hammer. Case in point, you suck. You're not good enough to swim with our fishes. Your material isn't worthy of being read by someone on the John. Though writing is my absolute life, and I consider my time penning works sacred, I truly wanted to make it. I wanted to be the guy that people could say they were currently reading, whether it was The Lady Next Door or a woman tens of thousands of miles away discovering it in a language I don't even speak. Let me get down to the long and the short of it. I write romance. Specifically, as far as I'm concerned, I write exceptionally steamy, wild, page-turning erotica. You wouldn't know that from these first few pages, but it's true. I've written a number of them and published them all on my own, thanks to independent startup companies on the internet. While it's been nice and a number of people enjoy my work, it's not enough. Granted, I'll tell you right now that it's not about the money. If you knew me, I mean really knew me, you would know that I'm all about the namesake. If I were rich, I'd use my financial freedom to buy truckloads of books and just give them out to anyone that desired to read my work. I've always been that way too. However, books, yes, even self-published ones, cost money. And with the way living expenses and the price of gas for my car are going, I can't merely survive on goodwill alone. With the time I spent tweaking Intimate Massage, I hoped to God that someone in the book publishing industry would look at it and actually give me the chance I needed to make it to the top. One of the editors I had been keeping in touch with sent me an email on a dreary and otherwise very rainy Monday afternoon. I remember paying my electric bill and grabbing a bite to eat at a burger joint, wondering if my life was ever going to take off. As far as I was concerned, my makeshift shuttle had been prepared for launch almost a decade at that point. Professionally, I believe I was where I thought I needed to be, and simply had yet to be picked up. Greg Boston, the editor I mentioned a moment ago, had told me a few weeks prior he was doing everything in his power to get my book seen by someone higher up in the company. I was optimistic, but at the same time I promised myself I wouldn't get all worked up about it. There was no need to have a crappy day by expecting God himself to drop an envelope in my mailbox with the golden ticket to what I considered to be Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. I was still stuffing the last 3 French fries in my mouth when I walked into the apartment and hadn't even taken my coat off when I decided to check my email and clear out any spam that may have accumulated. To my absolute surprise, Greg had written me back that he sent out electronic copies of my work, one to the sales desk and one to acquisitions. When I emailed back asking for more information, he told me to call him immediately. I was nervous and had just eaten only moments before. The two were not a good combination. If my brain had been running a marathon, it would likely have finished in record time. Isaac Foster? Yeah, Greg, it's me. What have you got? You're not going to believe this. Your book is getting rave reviews in the building. Wait, I thought you only sent it to 2 people. At that time, yes, but more of the staff wanted to read it. I sent you a few emails asking you if you'd mind from my personal email after work, but I couldn't get hold of you. Shoot, yeah, I'm looking at them right now. They ended up in my spam folder. You're not mad at all, are you? Greg asked, his friendly tone mixed evenly with worry. No, absolutely not. It's always been a dream of mine to get published, and anything that can be done to increase my chances, count me in. Okay, good. That's what I hoped you would say. Now listen, the book has been getting a heavy number of requests from people that have heard about it. I have a really good feeling that this one is a potential bestseller. You really think so? I asked, smiling as I held my cell phone to my ear. I've read it 3 times, Isaac. I personally think that it's gold, but I'm not the one buying your book here. I have no purchasing power. All I can convey is what I think of the book and what your odds are. You really think my book is a potential bestseller? I asked, hoping to God he'd give me another much-needed yes. Absolutely. The first time I read it, I was in it for the story. The second time through, I was looking for grammar and punctuation errors. On the final read, it was simply because I wanted to get lost in it again. You're a real magician with your wordplay. I chuckled. Thanks, Greg. It means a lot. You're welcome, Isaac. Fast forward a few days to the following Friday evening at what should have been quitting time for Oxford Publishing in Seattle. A phone call I wasn't expected caught me completely off guard and almost brought me to my knees. Isaac, are you able to get time off work right now? Greg asked, barely giving me a chance to put the phone to my ear. Slow down, Greg. I'm laid off. What's going on? What's going on is the fact that you just got a green light for an advance on your book. I slapped my mouth and almost dropped the phone as I became overcome with shock from the fantastic news. Please tell me that you're not kidding. My poor heart can't take a joke if that's what this is. Greg scoffed playfully. Oh, ye of little faith. Tell you what. I'll secure a round-trip plane ticket for you at the airport there in Lansing, Michigan, effective within the hour. In return, I expect to see you bright and early on Monday morning in the acquisition office getting a $4,500 advance for intimate massage. My heart was pounding and I thought for sure my eyes would pop right out of their respective sockets. After the ringing in my ears subsided, I had to ask Greg if I had heard him correctly. You didn't. Tell me you didn't secure the whole 45. Dude, it's a done deal. I'm looking at the email right now. They don't want you shopping this to another publisher. My left hand cradled my forehead as I settled into my desk chair as he continued on, which was a blessing since I was officially out of words to speak. The president of the company wants to have lunch with you on Monday afternoon and just chew the fat. You made it, dude. You made it. Everything after that was white noise. I stood, took to the bathroom, and looked at my face in the mirror. I was trembling and on the verge of tears. My dream had finally come true. I was going to be a real, live author with my romance book on shelves at retailers nationwide. I turned on the cold water and splashed it on my unshaven face. As it ran down my chin and subsequently my neck, I leaned into the mirror and smiled the biggest smile I could possibly muster. There were no words to explain how proud of myself I was for accomplishing this almost impossible feat. The rest of the night I spent relaxing, and I eventually went to bed in the wee hours of the morning. I awoke refreshed, with a renewed sense of vigor. Every song on the radio that I knew I sang along to. It was like my happiness had been bottled away, but was now out in the open for all to see. There on my nightstand was the self-published copy of Intimate Massage. I picked it up and pressed it to my lips, kissing it with my eyes closed, taking in both the scents of the paper and glue and equating them with incredible success. The novel had been a labor of love, and now the pieces to the puzzle were finally coming together. By the time Sunday morning rolled around, I had my bags packed to fly out west to Seattle, Washington. I was as excited as a little boy on his first day of kindergarten and still had trouble believing that I was going to get on a plane and not only get paid for a book I wrote, I was getting paid to do something I enjoyed doing. I never once wrote with the intention of getting money for doing so. I wrote because I love the craft and because I'm convinced it's ingrained in my bloodline.